Can you tell me a little bit about, and I know there's probably programs and, special situations, but what does some of that look like? That soul care work that you're talking about.
Yeah, so the main thing that I like to point out when people ask, what do you mean by
Yeah.
soul care? Like, what is it? I like to point out it is not the same as self-care.
Mm,
It's not the same as therapy.
okay.
It's its own unique entity. Self care, that's when we talking about going to get the manicure, the pedicure, getting the eyebrows plucked, going to
Uh-huh.
do the things that make our outer bodies feel good. And I mean, some of that can permeate to the
Sure.
inside as well, but that's about kind of that superficial. Oh, I just need to relax, need a massage. I'm going to just get my wine and sip and drink my book. I mean, drink my book, drink your book,
Drink it,
read my
girl.
book. Right. Read my book, drink my wine, that kind of thing. That's the
Yeah.
self care. Therapy is going to give you the things, it's going to work with you about the things that are diagnosable, your mental wellness, probably coming to grips with like the things that have happened in your life and making sense of it all.
Mhm.
Whereas soul care says, okay, we're going to go even a little deeper. We're
Mhm.
going to go down into the core of who you are and see how the things that have happened to you, how they have changed you, how
Mm.
they have shifted who you are, how they have impacted how you view the world, what you believe is possible.
Hey, y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you three things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis. Yeah. So when we spoke, you kind of spoke a little bit about evolution you made in a particular area in your life, as regards to friendship, right? You kind of spoke on you are a wife, a mother, a mental health therapist, active in your church community, and so all of those titles automatically come with the responsibility of leadership, with the
Mhm.
responsibility of wisdom in a way, right? These people are looking for you to have answers to certain questions,
Mhm.
and strength, stability, all the things, right? But you mentioned that you've learned to kind of lean on your friends in some of those ways as well. Tell me a little bit about that evolution of, just learning how to kind of be vulnerable when you are in need of support, when you're in need of a little wisdom, knowledge,
Mhm.
expertise, etc. What does that look like?
Yeah, so I had to one accept the fact that I wasn't accepting help, even though I thought I was. And I once heard someone say that if you have an issue accepting help, then you really have an issue when you're giving help, right? It almost is as if you are better than, like, oh, it's okay for me to help somebody else,
Oh.
but not me. I got it. I'll figure it out. And so that really stuck with me. And so I had to,
Like, how
uh,
are you not a person who could use a hand? Like, what
right,
makes you so special that you don't
exactly.
think you need help?
Exactly. Right. And sometimes it felt like I just wasn't privileged to
Mm.
have that. It felt like every space that I was in, like you said, people are looking to me for the answer or for the guidance or for the listening ear, for the shoulder to cry on. And I'm that's just who I am. So it doesn't bother me to be that, but it can be a lot.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people like me, maybe they have different titles, different roles, but you are the strong friend, you are the go-to family member, you are the stable one in the relationships. And so you just kind of get used to that song and dance where you're always giving and not necessarily receiving.
Hmm.
And so I did have to go through a journey to say, that's not okay, and I have to do something different. Like, I have to find the spaces where I can just be a Alondra. I have to find the spaces where somebody's checking on me. And I
Yeah.
was fortunate enough that I already had the friends that wanted to be that for me. I just wasn't letting them.
Yeah.
So if they called me with an issue or just a vent, I was internalizing that as oh, okay, well then I don't get to say something back. Right? When that's not what they were trying to do. They wanted it to be reciprocal. I was only letting it be one-sided.
How
So
did
once
you
I was
find
able
that
to,
out?
so I actually
Sorry.
was angry
Uh-huh.
with a lot of my
Yeah, because
friends.
I'm just like, how do you become to realize that's what they are looking for or
Yeah, I
whatever?
was angry. I was. And I was like, these friendships don't work. It's one-sided. I'm tired. It was real honest because these were very close friends. So I was very honest. I was very vulnerable. And my closest of friends were like, it never had to be that way. You
Mm.
don't tell us what's fully going on with you. You may tell us what's going on, but you don't necessarily tell us how it's impacting you. And
Yeah.
so I had to own that. I
Mm-hmm.
have to accept that that's true,
Yeah.
right? I thought I was, but maybe I really wasn't. And so I had to let them into the spaces
Mm-hmm.
so that they could be there for me. And it's been phenomenal.
How did
Anytime I can spread the message of what true soul care, true emotional wellness is, I'm happy to do it because I feel like people, like I said, just kind of lump it all together because obviously emotions do come up in therapy. Emotions are impacted by self care, but we're not talking about just like you said, just knowing the emotion. We want to truly not just process it, but deal with it and yank that thing out if it's not good for you.
Yeah.
If it's not good for you, because we don't have to live under the oppression of any emotion that's causing us to change and be different in ways that are not either pleasing to ourselves, pleasing to God. You know, I think about while you were talking, I was thinking about one of the reasons that I feel like I've gone into dating first as the primary way that I would reach people at first is because if the nothing else reveals that those triggers are there, like trying to love somebody or trying to be loved
Talk
by
about it.
somebody.
Talk about
Okay.
it. Talk about
Nothing
it.
else. Other
Mm.
situation. Like your mama gonna get on your nerve. You've been with your daddy all your life. You know how they gonna mess with you. But this part
Yeah.
you didn't choose them. They kind of brought you here. But this
Yeah.
person that you
Yes.
chose, that you opted, you raised your hand and said, you know what?
Cut everybody
I want
off
you.
for.
Right. So there is nothing can trigger you like that, and
Yeah.
it can make those things rise to the surface as much as that person you choose,
Yeah.
and that choosing you, and
And
and and that's what I like to try to get to the core of, because in that it's like re-traumatizing all over again. Because yeah, okay, your mama might not did right by you, your siblings might not have done right by you, but you didn't choose them. You
right.
chose this person, and so it's a whole new set of trauma.
And I was gonna say the choosing of the person, I think, allows for this reinforcement of insecurities and things because is my picker off? Do I
Oh yeah,
actually like this? Do I actually love this? Am I actually into this when something goes wrong? Sometimes that's what I get at in my brain, like, well, do I know me enough to even say, that I like these things or that this is the person that I'm supposed to be with?
right,
Am I
right,
tapped into the creator to be like,
yeah,
well, if he said no, could I even hear him? You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah,
yeah.
it's going to unearth a lot of these questions and answers that you have to suddenly deal with, or you
Yeah.
don't,
Or
and
you
then
don't, and
you
then
deal
y'all
with
sit there
you.
miserable, like hating each other and stuff, or you're
Right.
dealing with something internally that you don't even know how to share.
So thank you, first of all, for sharing because you shared a lot,
I
and
know. I was trying to
not
pack
no
it in.
in the best way because we don't hear your story, often. I think a lot of us, me included, are afraid of a conversation around medication,
Mm.
because I would just say for me, the trajectory seems to be strung out, on
Mm.
something. That's just
Mm.
what I've seen. Those are just unfortunate examples that I've seen. Not the best sources to be considering as fact, but it's
Yeah.
just what is there. It's just the natural um thought process. And so that's why I really wanted to have this conversation because this conversation around neurodivergence, being on the spectrum, ADHD, all the things in our communities, in Black women specifically, for me, is something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not, it's always existed, you know, but it was
Mm-hmm.
something they had, not we
Mm-hmm.
had.
Mm-hmm.
If you catch what I'm saying, you
Mm-hmm.
know, it was not something we had to deal with. I knew two gentlemen growing up who were on the spectrum, but I never had any language whatsoever to put towards what they had going on. It
Mm-hmm.
was just, you know, they're a little special. They, you know, he just treat them like the rest of everybody. He liked to talk to, you know, he want a piece of cake too, or whatever. It was that. And that was, they were extreme because they were nonverbal
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in you know what they had going on, and still to this day I couldn't tell you exactly what their diagnosis was. But all of that to say, now in this new season and this new opportunity to speak about this conversation is just really important, and to normalize it, you know. As I told you when we were speaking, the first ding or person I really kind of heard speaking aloud was Amanda Seals on
Yeah.
her discovering her diagnoses and where she falls on the spectrum, and all the things that she went through to discover that,
Yeah.
before discovering that, and then
Mm-hmm.
after, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because I think those are all those, as she kind of told her story, those all seemed to be different people, if you
Mm-hmm.
will,
Mm-hmm.
existing in the same Spider Verse. Because when
Mm-hmm.
I say that, I mean, before the diagnosis, there seems to be this wondering of what it is. You know, there's something not right. No, I don't even want to say right. There's something different. There's
Yes.
something special. There's something unique about the way my brain, my heart, my soul processes things and feels about this, and the way I approach it as opposed to somebody else. And I'm constantly being told something's wrong. I'm
Mm-hmm.
constantly being told you're doing it wrong, you're approaching it wrong. And for her example, you know, that she spoke a lot about was and what manifested a lot was her bluntness and
Yeah.
her direct speaking towards other people, and how before the diagnosis, right, that was just totally just, I don't know why I just feel the need, I need to say what I gotta say. That's just, I don't know, just how I'm wired. Then there's, you receive this diagnosis, you receive this influx of information about now how your brain works and why you operate in the way you are. And I can imagine in that space, there's probably I would liken it probably to the 5 stages of grief. And
It's
I want to
definitely a
hear
grief
your
process.
experience
Mm-hmm.
in that moment of getting the diagnosis, like what you're going through, because that person that you look so critically at through that lens, I feel like you now have this newfound understanding, but she was also you, but now it's not, because, you know, so
Yeah.
what is all of that
Yeah.
like? And I mean, I hope that made sense, but I'm
It
just,
does.
you know, I'm trying to put myself in your shoes, but
Yeah.
again, we don't hear these stories often.
Yeah.
So, you know, tell me.
Yeah, yeah, it makes total sense. And Amanda Seals has definitely been inspiring to me
Mm,
as well on this journey, because no, a lot of people are not talking about it. We're starting to talk about it more because you know, some of us are talking about it publicly.
mhm,
But there have been people who are on the spectrum around us forever.
mhm,
And even I'm an educator, right? So even in my training about autism, it was very much about those who were nonverbal, those who might have also had physical manifestations of what was happening,
correct.
right? So the differences were very, very obvious.
Yep.
And that is the way that I was trained as an educator to think
Right.
about autism, right? ADHD was definitely through the lens of white boys mostly, but boys for sure.
Mhm.
We weren't
Mhm.
learning about, do girls have ADHD at
Right.
all, you know, or even understanding traumas.
I wanna get into that last little piece of it because you mentioned, the first time you had to like mourn this loss
Mm,
and shed that old identity. And that's something that a lot of times I don't hear many of us really talk about,
mm,
because it really is a real process. I realized I kind of went through something like that after it happened. I was in my current career, but I just was sad. I was really sad. I felt like
mm.
the job didn't change, the people didn't. I'm like, but this just is not it. I'm not feeling aligned and congruent with this space that I'm in, and I feel this like call to something else, something bigger, something different. But to do that, I have to change everything. And it's like, well, I don't want to do that because that's hard. Change is hard. It's uncomfortable. It's different. It calls you higher, right? You have to be accountable to yourself because I can't just, when I see opportunities now, I can't just let them pass. Oh, well, I'll get to it. You have to now be accountable to, dang, I know better. And for example, me working out lately, I've been wearing my Apple Watch, and it's like now these rings are literally on my wrist. I can't not close my ring today because I know better. I want to be better in the version of me that I am. She works out, she gets it in, she's in the gym, and
Oh,
that's hard. I was not that girl before,
yeah.
and it's sad because that girl was fun and carefree, and she had so many experiences, and we went through so many things together, but that's just not who I am anymore. So tell me a
Mm.
little bit more about that, and maybe some of the conversations you had with yourself or these peer groups that helped you really kind of move through that space.
Mm. I would say I do a lot of reading, and
Okay.
I cheat when I read, just to be clear. I do audiobooks, so I'm not sitting
Yes.
there thumbing through books.
Yes.
Okay, but it still counts. So I
It
do a lot
count.
of
Mm-hmm.
reading, reading and listening, um, but a lot about redefining what my narrative of success looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Because I still had that old narrative of success. You get your corporate job, you
Mm-hmm.
climb the corporate ladder. When you get up there, you stay for 30 years. You don't want to be a job hopper. I love my parents,
Got
but
it.
they were old school and that was their belief. So that's what I believe to be true as
My
well.
dad still got the same job.
See? Yes, right?
Yes.
Because they were
Yes.
taught like you don't job hop. I'm
Mm-hmm.
using air quotes. You don't
Yep.
job hop. You stay there and you go. So a lot of the work was me having to redefine what my narrative of success
Yeah.
is. Not even was,
Yes.
is.
Yes. Yes.
And for me, and to your point, when you were there, but you were doing all the things, but you were unhappy and you were sad, I'm like, listen, we are on this earth for a period of time that we don't even know when that time is
Mm-hmm.
coming to an end.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So the only thing I can choose is how I choose to live my day. I don't want to live my day for anybody else's version of
At
Jamie.
all. Mm-hmm.
So I leaned a lot on my best friends who know me really well. And I'm like, listen, what do you think my strengths are? What do you think I'm really good at? What do you think I need to improve? What areas do you see I need to develop in? I'm sure there are a couple of those too.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped me redefine
Mm-hmm.
Jamie. I asked my husband a lot of stuff. What do you think? You think I'm crazy for trying to leave this corporate gig and go solo? He was like, no, because I see the way
Yeah.
you aren't the same, like you said, same bubbly, happy Jamie. I started off that way because that's where I thought I was supposed to be. And when I started realizing that I was dreading going to work or that I
Yep.
just didn't feel appreciated
Yep.
or I felt like I was being used as the face to show that we were diverse as a company when we weren't, all those things, I realized I'm putting on this front to make everybody else happy, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
not happy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was having the conversations with my people.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing for me, though, is being still. I'm a busybody.
Man, talk about it.
Listen, I walk fast, I talk fast, I
Yes.
think fast. I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
let's go.
What are we
Let's,
doing, people? Yes.
what's on my calendar today? And I felt
Okay. Yeah.
important. I felt important with the more meetings I had and the more things I had filled. But again, it was all of that like, that's that old version of corporate BS. You don't
Mm-hmm.
need to ascribe to that anymore. That no longer serves you.
Yep.
So redefining my narrative of success, asking my community to help me lean into and to define what my strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then again, I'm not risk averse.
Mm-hmm.
So I will take
Okay.
a risk. I do like to gamble in
Yeah.
real life too. So I like to
Yeah.
gamble. So I have to gamble on me, but
Yeah.
it took the community to help me understand that it was okay to do that. And
Yeah.
I'll say this, I had a conversation with my parents
Okay.
because the younger Jamie and me always wants to make sure that I have their approval, which
Right.
I'm a 45, almost 45-year-old lady, and I still seek the
That's
approval of my
beautiful.
parents. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I had to have a conversation with them. This may not be what your version of success looked like, but this is the way that I'm going. And they were like, do you? We know you
Yeah.
make the decisions, and so we support you.
So we kind of talked about this a little bit in our icebreaker, but you reconnecting with friends and over time and how that's been. But I want to talk today and really get into friendship. I'm about to be 30 this year. You've been in your 30s for a few years.
Welcome to the 30s club.
Yes. And I'm excited, right? I'm really excited. Like, I feel like this new chapter is going to be everything for me. Again, I'm turning into a cliche, but I'm really excited for my 30s. But I do want to talk about like friendship because what would you say is the biggest difference between your friendships now in your 30s as opposed to in your 20s?
Mhm. That's a great question. I think that the biggest difference is there's more substance to my friendships. There's more, it's not just, oh, this is my friend that I go to the club with. Like, no, it's that real solid, there's substance to my friendships. And so, like, one thing is social media gives a lot of trash advice on
Mm,
friendships. I
mm-hmm,
remember a few years ago, I had this therapist that talked about your friend is not going to be a great friend the entire duration of the
right.
friendship. You have to give grace.
Yes.
Social media is like, if your friend claps for 2 seconds instead of 5 seconds, they're not your real friend.
Yes.
If your
Yes.
friend
Yes.
don't like every single post, share it, comment this,
Yes.
that, they're not your real friend. And it's like,
Yes.
damn, maybe they didn't see the post.
Yes. Correct.
It's
Maybe,
like,
right?
right?
Maybe they're going through their own things.
Maybe they're going through something.
Yeah.
That therapist she gave an example. She talked about how there was a birthday that her friend didn't show up for her, and she was so upset. Her friend didn't go to her gathering,
Mhm,
and her friend was going through something. It was very personal, but she was at home crying and dealing with it, and couldn't get out of bed.
mhm, mhm,
So it was just when she told that story, I was like, wow,
mhm.
that like you have to give people grace. And then I
Yeah.
had a lesson of my own. I'll be very transparent about it. Being away from home and I'm single, I spent a lot of holidays by myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had a friend who is aware of that, and she was my best friend. And I was so mad at her that she didn't call me on Christmas.
Mm.
Christmas Day came. I always cook a meal. Maybe I'll do my rounds at people's houses, but for the most part, I spend holidays alone. So this friend didn't call, and I was mad. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go off because oh Tyree, tell it like
Right,
it."
right, right. Y'all should
I was
know.
like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna tell her about herself. How could she not call me?
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, it's like God laid it on me not to address it.
Mm.
I didn't say nothing. A
Mm-hmm.
few days later, she reached out. She was like, hey, girl, I'm so sorry. I've been MIA. I have a family member that passed away on the holiday,
Mm.
one that she was really close with.
See.
And I was like, thank God I didn't.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah, give people grace.
Mm-hmm. And I think what's hard is in that grace, we have to be vulnerable, right? Because we have to be willing to say, hey, friend, you not calling me made me feel away. What had happened? You know what I'm saying? I was thinking, I was looking for you on Christmas and you didn't call me. What's going on? But we often don't get to that conversation of, well, you didn't show up, so what's going on, right? We often just create a narrative. Well, she knows Christmas. She knows she's supposed to call me. She know da 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 da, da,
She was
right?
looking at me in that pink shirt the other day. I ain't like how she was eyeing me. And then you start kind of playing different conversations you had with her where she was being weird.
Exactly. all kind of stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
talk to me a little bit about healing, because we hear so many different conversations, in this regard. And sometimes people are like, you just need to get over it. It happened, whatever it was. Some people are like, well, you'll never really get over it. You'll constantly always have to do certain things or whatever. So when you're speaking about healing and helping people, heal, talk to me a little bit about, like, what does that look like and how does it play out?
To me, what healing looks like is, I'm not trying to be on here all super churchy, but
No,
it's
go
just
ahead. Do your
it's
thing.
it's honesty. So
Yes.
to me, what healing looks like is faith. It's a faith walk. It's not, people will be like, you'll never get over it. That's not true. You'll get over it, but you just have to walk it out. You have to trust God. It's not like, oh, I'm going to be okay in 1 year. I'm not going to be okay in two. It took me 5 years. It took me
Mm.
5 years to get over the thing that broke me. So,
Mm.
is how hungry are you to get better? How consistent are you willing to be? Are you going to start? Are you going to stop? Are you willing to finish? Are you going to go halfway? So, it's a walk. To me, healing is a walk with God.
So I admire, any woman who can take these ideas and make them physically present, right? And physically put the people in place, the teams in place, the things in place to make it happen, because I think it's very underestimated. I know it's underestimated. And again, I'm telling my business, I never thought I would be an entrepreneur ever. Like how you saying, I always knew I was going to own my own business from day one. What? No, I'm going to go to work. Somebody's going to pay me and I'm going to go home and mind my business. But then, you realize, like, girl, that's crazy. You finna put all that time in on somebody else's dream idea situation when you can put that same work in on your own thing, and and you will do so much better, be so much happier. And yes, like you're saying, it's gonna come with these struggles. It's gonna come with realizing your um areas of opportunity. I was going to say weaknesses, but I don't want to use that word. But your areas of opportunity, it's going to come with all of that. But at the end of the day, it's going to make you a better person. So tell me a little bit about some personal growth that you've experienced from all the things, where you started in this industry into where you are now. Like, how have you grown as a person?
I was I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay. As how I grow as a person, I guess the business in general, it will humble you. I mean, it helped me to be patient,
Mm-hmm.
to trust in God, because at the end of the day, you really have to have faith that what you believe is gonna happen, and
Hello.
only doing that is by
Hello.
God, trusting in His word, trusting in His will, is
Hello.
seeing it
Yeah.
through. I'm sorry, I just had a little,
No, no, take it there. We go to church, friend. We can go to
I
church.
had to take it to church for a second. But no,
Yeah.
really just trusting in that, because um a couple times I had to step out with this last time, of course, but like when I was working, I had to just be like, okay, I want to do this full time. I'm itching to do. I can't sit still at this desk. I don't want to be here. Like, this is my passion. This is where I want to be.
Yeah.
I'm sacrificing everything, my job, for it anyway. So
Yeah.
let me just
Okay.
step out, and let it happen. But yeah, it just taught me to just lean more into my faith, have
Yeah.
patience. It humbles you
Yes.
to take risk.
For
Yeah.
sure. I actually want to piggyback on what you said about not only trusting in God, but you said trusting His will. And
Mhm.
I think that is so key, because that's even bigger than trusting that He'll provide and that He's faithful, because sometimes his will for you is not what you ever thought or expected you would be going through, right? And you might have this grand business plan or this idea that it's gonna look one way or the other, and God's like, well, nope, actually it's gonna be like this, and you might hate it, you know, or whatever, but you have to trust that God, this is your will. It's all going to come together for my good in the end anyway. And lean on that, you know what I mean? Especially as an entrepreneur, especially as a business owner. So I just, I wanted to go there with you, girl. I wanted to go there with you.
Absolutely, because and that's another thing. It's like, okay, I'm taking this leap, quitting this job and taking this risk. If it's not in his will, he gonna find me back where I need to.
Hello?
That's a job.
And you have to listen to
gonna
that.
provide that for me. I know. Like, I just have trust. I know there's no way I'm going to fail, regardless. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna pivot to something else. That's just in my nature.
Can you tell me a little bit about, and I know there's probably programs and special situations, but what does some of that look like, that soul care work that you're talking about?
Yeah, so the main thing that I like to point out when people ask, what do you mean by soul care? Like, what is it? I like to point out it is not the same as self-care. It's not the same as therapy.
Okay.
It's its own unique entity. Self-care, that's when we talking about going to get the manicure, the pedicure, getting the eyebrows plucked, going to do the things that make our outer bodies feel good. And some of that can permeate to the inside as well, but that's about kind of that superficial, oh, I just need to relax, need a massage. I'm going to just get my wine and sip and drink my book. Drink my book, drink your book. Read my book. Right. Read my book, drink my wine, that kind of thing. That's the self-care. Therapy is going to give you the things, it's going to work with you about the things that are diagnosable, your mental wellness, probably coming to grips with like the things that have happened in your life and making sense of it all. Whereas soul care says, okay, we're going to go even a little deeper. We're going to go down into the core of who you are and see how the things that have happened to you, how they have changed you, how they have shifted who you are, how they have impacted how you view the world, what you believe is possible.
I'm coming out of that and investing in myself. And also you talked about just being still, right? And that is a lot of what this space is kind of requiring me to do, because I have to build my expertise and my skill and my know-how in that field. So that means it's not coming as quickly as other things were, right? So embracing all of that is the current situation.
Absolutely. And you know what? I believe firmly, if you put it out there, and again, you have the right people around you, people are going to say, well, if you want to be a public speaker, I have these 4 people that I can connect you with. Or there's a speakers bureau and they will pay you. So let me record you with your demo. I know it's not called a demo, but your little, video of you speaking. And then I'll do that for you. And then let's send it. So your village, your people, once you put it out there, I think a lot of times we're so scared to put it out there because number one, once we put it out there, then you got to own it.
Talk about it, Jamie.
But when you own it and you put it out there, what's it like? Closed
mouths don't get fed.
And scared money don't make money. So when you put it out there, it's not minimizing the fear behind it, because that is a real emotion.
Yes, girl.
But it's also but there's also fear in me spending years doing something that I don't want to do and not maximizing my God-given talent. So which fear is?
Which one do you want to lean into?
Yeah.
You are really, this is why you coach high level executive leaders, because you're talking about because yes, absolutely. You start to put these things out there, and then it's this like, okay, now I said it, I have to actually do it. That kind of cripples you a little bit, and you start to get in your head. But really, those opportunities are really just kind of waiting for you, waiting for you to step into it, own it, be, and like you said, stuff just kind of happens for you in a way that you would never have been privy to had you just kept it in. For anybody recently diagnosed, thinking they might have something, like you said, on your fellow neurodivergents, what is a piece of advice or a starting point for them, just to gain a little bit more confidence in this journey, or in this space now with this newfound information?
Yeah, so I would say get curious. My life mantra now is curiosity over judgment. So I would say get really, really curious about the things that are happening inside your brain and inside your mind. And really take some time. When I say walk through the halls, walk through there. Look
Mm.
at how your brain is decorated. You got boxes all over the place that got stuff in it that you need to file away or maybe throw away. Are there
Yeah.
departments that are open in your brain that you no longer need to have open? Are there buildings that you need to tear down, signs that you need to take down? Like, actually take time and walk through your brain. My cousin, when she actually just left this morning, I'm so proud of her, but she had moved here from New Orleans in August of last year, and she just left today to move to Peru. So she's like
Nice.
launching out on her own, and I'm like so
Yay.
excited. But when she first got here, I asked her about her brain, and she told me it was an Amazon warehouse.
Oh.
And she was like, it was an Amazon warehouse with no break room and no bathrooms. And I said, sis, you wondering why your brain is like, bitch, we done here? Girl, can them people at least have a break room and a bathroom? My God.
At the
Task
pay,
master. Yeah. So actually, but
Yeah.
no, she had never really thought about that, right? So actually pausing and taking the time to think about what's happening with your brain. The labels will come, and like I said, they're not really important at the end of the day. It really is about you understanding these are the things that make me feel safe. So when you're getting curious, you're asking yourself what makes me feel safe, and you're also asking yourself what brings me joy. Right. And as you come across the things that don't make you feel safe, you pin that to the side. Okay, we're going to have to deal with that. We're going to have to deal with that. Okay, this doesn't bring me joy. Start kicking these people, places, and things out of your life. I don't care if it's a freaking lip gloss. And you're like, every time I put on this lip gloss, I want it to be the right color nude, and it ain't never the right color. Get rid of it. Throw it away, sis. It don't bring you joy. It's taking up space in your brain. Let it go.
So tell me, what is some of the best advice you've ever received? And I'm going to say personally, only because we're going to talk about the business later.
Okay. Personally. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind would have to be something my grandmother tells me all the time, because she says it very consistently when I'm in a like I'm overwhelmed, or I'm not I'm unsure of something. I just can't make up my mind or something. She will always say, don't do nothing until like basically, in a sense, I don't want to I'm probably gonna reword it a little bit, but basically
put your spin on it, girl. We hearing it from you.
Yeah, like basically, don't make a move until you're sure. Like, don't do nothing until you feel sure about it. So don't act on uncertainty, or don't act on you'll know when you know.
Yeah.
So you know when it's time to go ahead and proceed on something. But until you do, you stay still.
I like to say, if you don't know, do nothing. That's
right. Something
what
like
I
that.
like to say.
Something of that nature is what.
Yes, and I love that, because like you said, you can act on something uncertain, and then 5 minutes later you regretting that. And I had to learn that. Like, I'm a Cancer. I'm an emotional person, so
act on impulse.
Yeah, we had to.
Yeah, I have impulsive moments too, so that's why I'm like, okay, you have to really sit back, and I'm sure we're gonna stay here.
Communication is hard.
Right.
And a lot of times things are miscommunicated just because we said the same thing. So we thought we were in agreement, and we're not, because we meant something different.
Yes.
And starting the conversations isn't easy, like you said, but if you've set aside this time, like, we're going to check in with each other every Friday night, whatever that is, right? Then you both know, okay, this conversation is happening. This is the conversation where we're going to say something that we got a problem with or concern with, but this is also the conversation where we're going to really love on each other and make sure the other knows how appreciated they are. Both of these go into this moment.
So that was going to be my next question. Is there a system where it should be, one or the other, both and sandwich method? Like, what is that
So I'm a
framework
fan of
look
both.
like?
I don't
Okay.
think that you should have a conversation that's just negative. If
Okay.
relationship isn't just negative,
Right.
no matter who you're talking to, your partner, your parent, your spouse, whatever. It shouldn't just be negative. If there is good in this relationship, there should be good in this conversation. And not that like I'm trying to appease you, let your shoes cute,
Yeah.
kind of compliment,
But no,
but
you
a
filled my water bottle
genuine
this morning. Like, I really appreciate that kind of
yes.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because we need to know and we want to know when we are
Yeah.
having a relationship with someone that we care about, we want to show up in a good way for them.
Right.
So we want to know that what we're doing is helping.
Okay, so we're on this walk, right? We got a mile. We about 0.7 miles in, then talked about, no, let me put it the other way. We about 0.3 miles in, we done talked about the bad stuff, right? It's been bad. Okay, we 0.6 miles in, we still on the bad. 0.8, how do we wrap it up, put a button on it to be able to put the good in there? Also, we need to have time, because again, okay, we got this framework, we got to be practical. We only got 20 minutes left. I still need to praise you in this way. But I don't feel understood or heard or whatever in this way. How can we reconcile that within this practical,
Sure. So
framework?
hopefully if you're doing this on a regular basis, you don't have a long list to try to get through.
Yep.
And sometimes even when it's just one thing, it can take
It
a
could
lot
take a
to
while.
get the person to really understand. Because maybe it's something you've been feeling for a while and this is your first time saying it out loud.
Right.
You've been feeling it for a while. Don't expect it to be resolved in 20 minutes.
Okay.
This is me just informing you. And you can preface it that way. I don't know if we'll be able to resolve this today, but I do know you need to know.
My last question, I just want to ask, I'm going to be 30, so for anybody like myself or in their 30s, who are struggling with this friendship or looking to make new friends or whatever it might be, what's a little nugget or piece of advice that you would have for us to go on?
Yeah, so I would definitely say in your 30s, your perspective on life completely changes. Like you start to look at the same stuff you believed in your 20s as like, what? Like, what was I thinking? In your 30s, your perspective changes. Just be open. You may be friends with someone you haven't been friends with. You never thought you would be friends with.
Yeah.
Be open to categorizing your friends. So you may have your work friends, you may have your turn up friends. This is a friend that, you can go to a museum with. This is a friend that you can go to the zoo with.
Yeah.
This is, all of my friends are not dog people.
Yeah.
I love my dog down. Like I gave birth to him. And so I'll get together with some of my dog mom friends
Yeah.
and we'll walk our dogs together or hang out together with our dogs. So, I mean, just categorize your friends. Like it's
Yeah.
okay to have them, and every friend is not good for everything.
Yes.
You may have this friend you go to church with, and
Yeah.
I have friends that are on different walks of life. I have a friend that's an atheist. I have a friend more spiritual, Christian. So it's just you have different.
Diversify. Yeah, I think that's really excellent advice, and I'm going to really take heed to that because, like I mentioned before, or maybe I didn't clearly express it, but if a friendship fall off, I might not care too much. I'm bad at that. I'm bad at saying, "Hey friend, we really need to connect. Let's put it on the calendar. This is when it's happening." And so I think putting a lot of these developing a lot of these relationships in these different categories allows the opportunity to be fulfilled in whatever those different areas are with other like-minded people, right? Because sometimes it's like, well, this one friend you've been hanging on to, they don't like being outside in the park. going for walks or something, you know, and maybe that's really important to you in this season in your life is touching grass, you know, and so that doesn't make them a bad friend or not a good friend for you. That's just not the friend you're going to be going on hikes with, you know, and you deserve still fulfillment in these other areas. You still deserve friendship in these other areas and to connect with people who are like-minded. And it doesn't make you weird. It doesn't make you, you know, doing too much or doing the most because your homegirl for 17 years don't want to do nothing different, right? Or isn't into the things that you're into. So that's excellent advice. You know, still try to develop these relationships with different kinds of people, you know, that enjoy the things that you enjoy.